So what's the Rebbe saying here? It's all based on the mind of the Miliovאוויטש, in connection with the Kantonisten, Exodus on Yidden. I guess the point, as I said yesterday, to explain this is in order to bring out how Yidden there's a purpose to it, and how Yidden have successfully passed the test. And therefore it should end. So what's he explaining here? He's explaining that why did they wish to take away so many mitzvahs as a result of our Avedas, the Chud and Beis HaMikdash. It would seem that's not the right kind of punishment. Don't take away mitzvahs. Heard it, Golus. Other punishments, take away mitzvahs. It's explained because it's midah keneged midah. We cannot express a mitzvah Sahi's Ratzon. That was the first part of the Maimon to explain what Hashem's Ratzon is, in contrast to Ratzon Lamata. And the Oidrei Ritzoynoi, so we are transgressing his will, so he has no need for it. If we're not keeping his mitzvahs, he doesn't want them, in simple language. That's with respect to mitzvahs aseh. But mitzvahs lois aseh explain, they remain universally valid and applicable, at least in theory, in as much that we still don't do these things. And anything you can do, you may not do if it's a mitzvahs lois aseh. And that's because it gives a mashal the doctor. So there's medications to take. There's things you have to do to heal. And then there's things one should not do, which will be injurious and compromise one's health. And he said here that even transgressing one of them renders the medications useless. That was the end of Vayedaber. So I'm just going to mute you guys. Okay, we're muted. So that's why mitzvahs aseh, it's only Pei Zayin that's left, and mitzvahs lois aseh remain in force. Ois Daled, Midas Adin continues to accuse. So they've got Pei Zayin left. They do them heartlessly, without without the metaphoric wings, the knafayim that cause the mitzvahs to soar heavenwards and illuminate the world and illuminate heaven. So therefore, he explains that that's why the Eibishter makes Exeda on certain Yidden. And there are few, but each Jew is lawfully menderov. And they're in a Maimon and Matzah that they can't do mitzvahs. And they have the Tzar, Alaleli, Keli, Lama Zaftoni. So this Tzar is the inverse of the Tainuk. Why they have the Tzar? Because they want to have the Tainuk. So that's like they had the Tainuk, which are the two wings, Av and Yir and Tainuk, that the Midas Adin argues that the Jews do not have. And when he has an opportunity to do a mitzvah, he does so with the Slavos and Doila and Tainuk Godel. Why? Because he was in a matzah of Eretz Tzir v'Oyev B'li. So this removes the accusation of the heavenly court that's addressed even to the remaining mitzvahs, the Pei Zayin mitzvahs. Moreover, he said at the end of Vayedaber, this affects that Hashem should then give all the other mitzvahs back to us. His Ratzon again is aroused that were in his battle at the time of the Churban. So it's not an Oynish, he's saying, the Maimon the Matzah, talking about the Yidden in Russia. But Adrab it's a Chesed, Torah is all Chesed, even Gehenim is Chesed. Because the whole Kavanah is to mevatel the Kitrek of the Pei Zayin mitzvahs, and to reveal that we do not perform mitzvahs hanoshim with the mother simply out of love. But there's a Ratzon v'Tainuk, Varai, take it away from the Yid and see how much pain he's in. The Chasimin that he does it with Ratzon v'Tainuk, and then the mitzvah is able to do look at the excitement. So the Rebbe is saying that the avoid of the Yidden in Russia mevatel the churban and bring about the Geula Beis Hamikdash Hashlishi. Ois hey. A lot of pieces missing in this mind, but the people, I guess, were overwhelmed with the emotion of the way they said the mind. As we'll see presently, Achdain tzarich lehovin to lechayre kedei levatel sakitrug al pei zayin hamitzvahs. We haven't really explained what, why is even this number of Yidden are subject to this matzav. Because in order to mevatel the kitrug on the pei zayin mitzvahs, in order to bring out the Yidden are excited about mitzvahs. How do we say they're excited? Because when we take it away from them, how pain they are. So if that's the objective, you need so many Jews to suffer. So one Jew. All of Amr Razal, what it says, that the whole world is only to serve this one, the Yid that learns Torah. So it's maspik levat lakitru, that's enough to nullify the accusation. Lifel and to effect sheyishru peizai mitzvah shal yodam miskayim ba'olam, that justifies these mitzvahs by which the world endures. Why do you need so many? They don't tell us every time they ever cried. You can be sure he did here. That God dispersed amongst the nations, the maimah, the matzav shamaniya vikuvim, and have to suffer what they are going through in the maniyas vikuvim, preventing them from being mekayim Torah mitzvahs. They don't get the answer, friends. Sheklolis Yisrael Shem Shishim starts off saying, it's also for the middle Rebbe. I'll read you what he says, but when you do Sheklolis Yisrael Shem Shishim Liben Nishamas Protis, so to know that the 600,000 Nishamas in Klolis, it's from the middle Rebbe, the whole mind is based on that. In Klolis Achayish al Klolis Ha'olam, the whole world is divided into 600,000 general sparks, which subdivide into further 600,000. And so on. Kibishvilam nivra of the whole world is created for Eden. The whole prat mehem, and therefore every Jew. So every year has the shlichus to elevate 1/600,000th, as it were, of the world, but it really breaks down because the 600,000 break down to 600,000. Etc. And look at Article 37. They don't have the rest. They cannot put it together in Chazara, the rest of the explanation. They send us to the middle of his mind. So this is what it says there. I just glanced at it and I glanced at it and understand it, frankly. So let's read it together. I'm just reading the translation. To understand more why some God-fearing people who are paying over the Churban Beis Hamikdash, so there are such Eden. Why do you need so many? He's asking, it's enough one. Kind of the question we're asking here. And if there's a kitru on the neshama, from which the Abish has withdrawn his will because of his sins. I'm missing something here. This is the Hezbollah starts. He quoted here. So the question is again, why is not enough one Yid? So the answer is because the 600,000 neshamas, and every neshama is responsible for 600,000 of the world. This is all based on the Zohar and other sources. And that further breaks down, as I said, into each one can break down to 600,000. So the details, the numbers become very great. But the Nakuda is that everybody is responsible for a chelik of the world. Therefore, there's a kitrug on the neshama that God has removed his ratzon because of his sins. So what happens, therefore, to that part of the world that this neshama is responsible for? He's not doing his avoid. How does the world have kiyum? The world only has kiyum because of Torah mitzvahs, and that's been entrusted to Yidden, and everybody's got his part. So what happens, and it gets, I'm just going to what it says. So what does heaven do? So heaven takes a nitzutz from that neshama, a nitzutz from that neshama, to see if there's rusa deliver, if he has the avodah. Because that part of the world that's missing, he can fix because he's part of that general nitzutz. And it's all proportionate to the avodas, to the sins. This can translate. There are those, it says, Sheniv Dak Benisa, who are tested in their home, with an assign in their home. And then there are those that heaven decrees that they should be tested in the hands of their hands and the hands of the Messiah. Because this Jew has to be necessary that a Yid be there during the wartime or some other reason, Midborius and Mikonas Achedim. It's all to elevate these sparks. So that's why sometimes he has to be in captivity, taken into war or end up in literally God-forsaken places. And there he remains faithful to his faith. And so this individual's neshama, part of the bigger neshama that failed, is misakin, fixes it somehow. And then he concludes about such matters, that which the Torah concealed, we don't go there. And he concludes that even though at the time of the Churban there were many tzaddikim, nonetheless Hashem took away 161 mitzvahs, and they weren't left even for them. That's because in the whole creation is only in order for Yidden and Torah mitzvahs. So then they may be okay, he's saying, but other Yidden not, and everybody has their allotted portion in the world. And therefore, it seems he's saying that what's left therefore for the tzaddikim is the 87 mitzvahs. The rest had been removed because he didn't have sinned, and therefore there's no ratzon there. Not clear. And he concludes by saying, but now because of our sins, there's a kitrug given on these Pesach mitzvahs. And therefore it's kedai with this one, it's mitzdayer, that the world shouldn't be destroyed because he passed the test canal. Whatever. Basically translated, that's what he says. Let's continue. Adain tzarich lav nidar gisa shari, we have to understand the other way. On the other hand, It's a very heavy word there. We see Kishititza. They were saying not everybody withstands the test. It's 1964 Communist Russia, friends. I mean, if their mind wouldn't say that, we would never believe they ever could say such a thing. We see as a result of the situation, the Bnei Yisrael come to mitzvahs, the Yidden come to mitzvahs, yesh gam ka'elu, we see that there are those, there are some, shenishtar kol hagamli, they just sunk and they surrendered. Ad she'ein etzam in shal tzar v'tzayka, there's no crime. What happens to them? Achinyan hu the iksiv says in Sefer Daniel, they recorded this publicly, made a big shturim, many years later, the late Mems. Isbarnu v'islabnu v'itzar for Rabbi v'shir Rishoim. Time will come and there'll be a great clarification in the world. Itzar for its a term that's used, but smelting, removing the dross and extracting the pure metals. V'shir Rishoim, and the wicked will be exceedingly wicked. There'll be a great clarification of the world, and the wicked exposed, and the righteous revealed. Before Mashiach comes, there's got to be clarity. We have to do away with this mixture which happened as a result of the Chaditzadas, that good and bad got mixed up. Commercial tzid of kesef, like smelting silver, because if the silver is not cleansed and purified from dross and from psalus, from the it's a word for it. Dross is a word for it. As I gam up psalus the problem is that this psalus has some silver in it, and it's compromising the silver. But when the kesef is purified, cleansed, that there's no more any psalus, any waste. Yeah. Keep kesef nokim way, but very pure silver. Azel inisha the psalus kesef, so the waste doesn't have any silver in it, and it's discarded. He says, they are beautiful. So God's putting it through the crucible. It's called the crucible. So this compels this purging, and he who surrenders, succumbs, it's because he's a Rasha. The Yotzim again the Cloud Yisrael. And he's expelled from Cloud Yisrael. But Shuvan Yochel Kalkal Yisrael, he can't do any more damage to the silver which is Eden. Hear such words.
Speaking about the waste.
Speaking about the Yidden who embraced communism and persecuted Jews who didn't. So they're out, and they can't do the damage anymore. They've been removed. But the important words are there. It's an exception. There were those Jews that turned on their fellow Jews. But generally, saying Russian Yidden, the opposite has been the result of all of this. Being in a situation that they can't do Torah mitzvahs is the opposite. This is the Ma'ira aroused the cry, which is the inverse of the Tainug, and it's the answer to the Besna Shomayla. Where is the Porcha La'ela? Where's the Ava V'yira? And this nullifies accusation, Kanal Barucha, as we said before. This is pretty heavy. I don't know if this is in the bit that Rebbe's Maimah at all. I don't bring any source to it. No. But I just want to say, I'm reminded of the story that Rebbe told that was talking the first few based Talmud, starting with Aleph, I think. That talking about the Yidden that arrested the previous Rebbe. So the end, when they came to inform him of his, he never told stories. Bottom line is that even they were touched. And there were moments where they gave a Geshe Rebbe, cooperate. They called him Rebbe. Rebbe, that's why he's arrested. It's comrade. They forgot themselves for a moment and called him Rebbe. They're trying to tell you things are getting easier, you're going to be released, but refused to cooperate, wouldn't stand up, didn't respond to them. So they were in this battle, and they never told us this. A story he told later, but the story he told, Tavshin Yud Aleph, it made shockwaves around the world. And they got out. And they cried when he told the story, and that is that the first Shabbos he was there. Another story. They came in to take a picture. Where? In Russia, 1927, talking about this period. The Vayedaber. You know the story or not? It's a famous story. Not yet. I'm sure you, I tell you here. So they came to take a picture, and the Vayedaber had already undergone a fast to get his talis and film, so it was returned to him. So he says that the Vayedaber told the Rebbe that during the Shabbos in prison he davened barichas. So they came into his room to take a photograph of the file, and he sees he's davening with his talis over his head, and they walk out, not to disturb him. Come back a while later, the Rebbe said, the Rebbe didn't say how long, but an hour and a half later, still davening, talis ibn cup, and they leave the cell, come back a third time. Come back a third time is where the end of davening, the Rebbe tells a story. The talis was no longer on his head. Who's the davening? He wearing his talis. They told him he has to come, comrade, for a picture. Today is Shabbos, no picture. All right, they left the cell. So the Rebbe was crying. He said, the whole reason he's arrested because he's the Rebbe, having the talis over his head and keep Shabbos. And he's inspiring other Jews to do this. That's why he's. So then this spoil, and a talis ibn cup. So then the Rebbe said these words. The Rebbe said, I can repeat it. That even with the biggest clipper, this is the deepest clipper. These are the words I use. Zet atmos mohus ve'azistum tratalis. The words of the Rebbe. Which means the chiddush of the nefesh, the essence of the neshama. That's what Moishe and atmos mohus. Sitting on the talis, even the biggest clippers in his body. At least for a moment. But here he's saying, okay, that maybe the same story or not, but it was temporary, and then the arrest continued as it did till the miraculous intervention. But here they were saying very strong words that it's very a minority, but a minority showed your colors. You're Russia out, usual language. No longer contaminate Klal Yisrael. The waste no longer mixed in the kesef. Again, that's different. Yitzmin Aklal, but that Aklal, what's the whole Russian? Why is Abishah doing this again? Why is that explaining God? Because it's done. They did so already. Now it's time for the Gula. That Aklal is Ma'ira, the Tzad and the Tzayka, and that's the answer to the time of Bezen Shamayla, that even the Peizayin mitzvahs they do without their heart and soul. The answer is they certainly do with their heart and soul. And the Moshe Nefesh. Let's continue. Yeah, Vav. We can appreciate why they couldn't catch the beginning and the mind, but they also lost. Very emotional. They was crying in all of this. In light of the Bible, we'll explain the Maimar Azal Shomer Avram Lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the pasuk says, "Bameh Eida How will I know what's the sign that I will inherit the land, etc.? What was he asking? What's going to happen if your children will sin? And what will happen then to them and the covenant? So the Abishta told him that was the covenant, the eternal bris then. Take a third born calf. Laemar, the Gemara explains it's a Gemara. Megillah. So by saying take the calf there, that's the bris ben absodim, the Abishta is saying karbonos will atone for the sins. On Malafonov, said they Avram back to the Abishta Tinach Bezman Beis Mikdash Kaim. Okay, that will work when the Beis Mikdash exists. Bezman Beis Mikdash Kaim Mate Alei. What's going to be with them? They don't have karbonos to bring atonement. Amalei, so the Abishta told Moishe Avram, Kvatikanti Lahem say the karbonos. We've already established, prepared for them, the order of karbonos that they're going to say in davening. Kolzman Shakodim Be'anim. And as long as they read them, I will consider it like they brought the korban. The says, anybody studies the laws of the korban, like he brought it. And the Abishta concludes to Avram, will forgive all his sins. That's the greatness of limud Torah. That it's just like bringing the korban. So lama lo yel limud Torah ke korban gamas meisa mitishkaya. Why need the actual korbanos? Why isn't it enough to have limud Torah even time of the Beis Hamikdash? Lama hutzrach oz the korban daf. Why then was an actual korban required? So in light of the above, we're going to get the answer. Let's see. The value of limud Torah in place of a korban who mipnei should be tztayir al zeh. It's not standard learning only, but it's the pain she'eni yochel lahakir v'korban b'pel mamish that he can't bring the korban. It's the whole point of the golus is to bring out the tzom malach nafshi. Given shatzar meirel ataynu. Now the tsar is the other side of Tainu. He's lacking the pleasure and delight of the Avedas HaKarbonos. Shatzar Meir al-Hatainik Shahoya Misanik, he would delight Bakravas HaKarban had you been able to bring the Karban. So Chen Nechshav HaTzar K'may HaTainu. So the Tsar is like the Tainu. What's the point of the Karban? To offer the fats, right? To give one's Tainu and Gishmak. It's all for you. So his tsar that he can't is expressing that where is his tainug in the Eibishter, and that's expressed in his learning. And therefore, in Slavish, Limud Torah, so he learns about, he says the Parsha of Korbanos, so it's invested in, it's enclosed. This tsar is enclosed in these words that he says. These Gadfi in the Parchalel and gives it its tainug, its av and yira, which is the whole tainug of the Bezin Shamayla. Where is the tainug? The next of Kilo Hikrev, and that's why now it's considered like he brought the korban, not just the stam, the learning, but the tsar. And that tsar you wouldn't have his Beis Hamikdash Kaim. That answers the question. So so let them learn Torah then? Why have to bring the korban? It's not the learning, it's the learning with the tsar. And the tsar counts because I cannot bring the korban. So that's why now it's Kilo Hikrev korban, but not then. Yesh lohisev b'dik alo. I don't know if this is any verse of this verse either. It's coming. B'dik aloshin ki'ilu hikrev, as if he brought. Now, Pashtus, it's as if, but not really. Here, he's actually explaining the maila of the ki'ilu. Shalish chav ki'ilu, as if. Meram is the Bechinas Kesef. Many times you find that the letter Chav hints to Kesef, meaning the learning is Seich. Shayiraisa mechachma naftis. Torah emerged from Chachma. that he brings to his chachma, his tainod, his keser, his rotzen, through his tzar in Zman HaGolus. It's even more than Torah. That's what he's saying here. And therefore it's actually like the korban. He was tzar of the limud, the Pale Mamish, what's the tzar? Because he cannot serve the Eibush and bring the actual korban. The tzar expresses, therefore, what his tainuk really is. So what does he touch? He touches the rotzen of the Eibush, the keser, which is the sheidish ha-mitzvahs, shem ritzayne yizbarah. So that's ki'ilu, he give korban, he's megala, the Eibish's rotzen, because he reveals his deep rotzen. Take it away from the yid and see what pain he's in. And that's expressive of what his real tainuk is at the end of the day. And that's the ki'ilu, Vayedaber kavod. Want to continue story or continue? We've got a couple of minutes left. Stop here. Maybe we should stop here and save it so we can continue tomorrow. You know, tomorrow is the hardest day. It's Friday. It's the biggest Messiah.